UGA, what stuck out to me, um, the lack of explosiveness. And look, I mean, I understand, we talked about game plan earlier. We understand that UGA is playing, Austin P, not a world beater in terms of college football. But Stockton, he only completed 76%, he completed 76% of his passes, but averaged under 9 yards per completion. His longest throw was 19 yards. The reason I bring up the game plan is, like, I understand you don't want to put too much on tape before you get into your SEC play, and that sort of thing. But if that is the game plan, why were there so many instances of wide receivers and tight ends being open, right? And if they are going to be open, why not just hit them? Like, get that rep in. Why not? If I saw it on TV, then I'm sure Josh Heupel will see it on tape when he's doing his review over UGA for next week, right? So Stockton, he failed to connect on deep passes, and he missed several wide open receivers downfield. Not sure what's going on in Stockton's head. Hopefully it's not, like a confidence thing, but maybe he was just following the game plan a little too closely. I don't know. I also want to recognize that, Georgia's offensive line is super banged up already. We called it out, that offensive line is a area of not contention, but area of worry for this team. They're really going down the depth chart here already. But one other thing that really was concerning, Georgia reached Austin Peay's 1 yard line, but could not score on 5 tries. And I want to keep harping back to this game plan thing. I don't think it's a game plan to not be able to score from the 1 yard line against a team you're like 80, 90 pounds more heavier than, right? So yep. I think that still goes back to the offensive line not being able to provide that push. Stockton only had 13 rushing yards on 5 carries. So he offered little dual threat impact. We know his capabilities, but he wasn't really diving into that dual threat bag. I will say, though, like, the first 3 quarters were a struggle to watch. But the fourth quarter, it seemed like they just kind of said, all right, we need to put this one to bed. Forget the game plan. Let's just go win. And it seemed like the machine was working a little better in the fourth quarter. I think Stockton, he admitted, in his post game, he needs to be more confident and improve his comfort level in this offense. But does this cause any concern for you? Obviously, we are UGA fans. UGA is going to Tennessee, big game next weekend as they start their SEC kind of schedule. Does this cause any concern for you for the Dogs headed up to Knoxville?
Yeah, to be transparent, absolutely. Tennessee looks like a team that's ready to score at will. And, Georgia has a great defense, but, I feel like in games like this where you face a great offense, you're going to give up some points. So your offense has to respond and be able to score the best. So hopefully, they figure it out and the concern goes away this week, coming weeks, somehow. My question for you is, I heard you talking about the struggles of Stockton. Who do you think that is to blame? Last year, Carson Beck, we saw he had some struggles on offense, and it felt like everybody was pointing the finger at him. So my question is the finger, the point of blame, is it the quarterback again? Is it, the offensive coordinator, Mike Bobo, or is it the supporting cast around Gunner?
The supporting cast, well, all of the cast also includes, like, the best wide receivers, transfer room of wide receivers that transferred in, right? So that supporting cast is there. I don't think there's any issues there. I think the offensive line is a struggle room. I know Mike Bobo is great to point your finger at. I imagine he only listens to what Kirby Smart says, right? Like, if Kirby Smart wants to play a game a certain way, yesterday, we live in Georgia. It's been raining. You are playing a smaller school before you head into your SEC schedule. You don't want to open up the playbook. So Mike Bobo is only listening to what Kirby Smart says, right? So there's only so much blame that you can put on him. Maybe we'll see as we get into the bigger games what Mike Bobo decides to do, how he decides to utilize Gunner Stockton. But it's hard to point the finger at Bobo right now. I think more so it's the lack of effort on the offensive line and making Stockton do things he's not confident in doing just yet.